Hi, Billy D with a podcast with a good friend of mine, Peter Riggio, and together we're working on our product, which is Innate Hemp, Innate Hemp Oil, and they can go to innatehemp.com. But since we've been kind of like in this business together, we've seen a kind of an explosion in interest, especially with the chiropractors, and I wanted to introduce the chiropractors not as a treatment for anything. I like to look at it as a superfood that really affects a system which most people don't know about, which is the endocannabinoid system, which we will now continue to abbreviate as the ECS to keep the tongue twister. But say hi to everybody, Peter.
Hello, everybody.
And Peter's been helping me a lot with the chiropractors and getting them up to speed with their own distribution of the product. But how did you get into this field to begin with? That's a good question for the audience, and then I can explain how I got into it.
I think it's a great question, especially in lieu of the fact that people don't know me, don't know my background. But, you know, I've been working with kids and working basically in the service industry, but more service in my community, you know, doing coaching, doing things like that, you know. And just over a period of years, I finally was dealing with my sister's problem. My sister's had 22 years of RSD, and it's if you don't know what RSD is, it's a they call it a sympathy pain. And so she had too many surgeries, and she had this pain. So as a family, we're a pretty good sized Italian family. Everybody jumps in there and wants to help Nancy, you know. But over the years, we just kind of were just scratching our heads saying, what are we going to do here? We can't do this. Why is this happening to my sister? And I got turned on to cannabidiol and spoke with some people that really, really understood what it was doing and how the mechanism for action with the ECS. And I brought it to my sister and said, hey, this might really work, you know, give it a try. And so she started with a pretty decent size serving size of the product. And I was actually driving home, Billy, from
I'm listening. Just trying to
I was driving home from San Diego, and passed her by in Lake Forest, California. Gave her some product. She, I'll try it, Peter. And
what do you got to lose? Exactly. That's what I tell people all the time. And what's the worst thing that could happen?
Exactly. So I made it to Sacramento and got a phone call from her, and she was crying on the phone and said she couldn't believe it, but her sensitivity pain that she was experiencing had just stopped. And, it's just been a miracle for us as a family to see that. And because of that, I started digging in deep and studying everything I could, reading the medical reports on it, reading all the clinical studies, and just immersing myself in this information about this amazing system that's so relevant to everything that happens and everything that comes into our body, you know. And it's been a great ride. And then, of course, meeting you through a dear friend of mine. Is how we came together. Someone that you played music with and known for years, and I'd known him for years.
And surfed with him for years.
Surfed with him, right? And so it was just meant to be. This is not the kind of thing you figure out. The bottom line is we're changing people's lives, and we're changing it by fueling a system that can just really work with each scenario that a person's kind of dealing with. And I've seen it over and over.
My initial kind of like, I've been. Since I was 16, I mean, I've had I don't know why I'd call it intimate relationship with cannabis, but I never understood people's the way weed is bad, but alcohol's okay. I never understood that because I'd done both, and I knew that marijuana to me was not anything that was there's no really. I don't know. It's not a gateway drug. The gateway drug's alcohol. For me, it was. I mean, and alcohol was one of those things that slowly destroyed my life, and that's why I don't drink anymore. But when the whole medical marijuana thing came around to me, I was going, what's wrong with you guys? Why don't you just go get some weed and smoke it? Why do you have to use this medical kind of like crutch to validate why you're getting high? And then I couldn't understand, why would you smoke weed if you've got asthma? But then I started doing, like you said, I started actually looking at the research, and it's unbelievable. There is more research on cannabis than probably any other drug on the planet. And I don't want to call it a drug. I look at it as a plant, an herb, a superfood that supplements a system that is deficient because of the world that we live in. And when we have deficiencies, we can have, and again, I don't want to think that we're treating anything, but what the amazing thing is, the body can heal itself if you provide it with what it friggin' needs. I mean, it's no different than, for years I've really been a staunch proponent for people to take fish oils as an anti-inflammatory, but I've really come to the conclusion that cannabis, hemp oil, is way more effective as an anti-inflammatory. And not only that, you get all the... the reason I take it, and I'll talk about that in a minute, but I'm looking at, why would I take an anti-inflammatory that's not only an anti-anxiolytic, which means it gets rid of anxiety, which was my big friggin' issue for years. I could never sleep because my brain would never shut up. And I do the green tube now. Yeah. And it's like, in fact, I got to cut back because I've been sleeping so good lately. I sleep too much. But if it's also got all these anti-cancer properties and brain and neuroprotective and neuroregenerative properties that's been proven in the research, why wouldn't I do that? And I've not only sleep better, and partially when you sleep better, you're going to have better cognitive function. So it's been an amazing, amazing journey for me, and to a point where I want to really bring this product to the world. And we've got a huge, huge opioid epidemic, which I know we could really not only get rid of through chiropractic, but also help eliminate by using cannabis, which is not only a great anti-inflammatory, but it's also an amazing, it just gets rid of pain.
Yeah. Well, what I find remarkable is that, like, nobody would have any trouble, for instance, having a glass of or a cup of echinacea tea.
Right.
Echinacea tea has cannabidiol in it.
Right.
Okay? Common tea has cannabidiol in it. Flax, cannabidiol, hops. And so it's there. It's just more abundant in hemp. And so some people like the psychoactive effect of it, and some people don't. But that's really not the point. It's the health benefit and what it's doing for people. And so when I look at it through that lens, to me, it's really something that's just built into people that they've placed a wall up and they can't properly separate, especially when you look around, you see kids that are unmotivated, that are smoking marijuana, and they're not doing anything with them. I'm not saying all of them, but a lot of them will just talk about things they want to do, and then they don't do it. So I'm kind of anti from the kids' side because I'm seeing, their brains are still developing. The fact that we have a society where people drink alcohol, definitely a better alternative to drinking alcohol would be smoking marijuana. I'm in complete agreement to that.
Yeah, and I don't smoke it, but I'm
as an adult, you have that choice, right? You have that choice. But as a youngster, all this stuff sometimes can have a negative effect because the kids feel that they have more of a reason to engage with it at a young age, and it's probably not the best thing. In fact, the anti-anxiety effect of marijuana, but better to receive it in the cannabidiol, right, through the product, is absolutely amazing in what it's doing. And I believe that kids are seeking out to get high as a self-medication for anxiety and stresses in youth. Look at the power of social networking if somebody says something bad about you. You're trash, not just, with 3 of your friends. You're trash with 700 people, right?
Well, as a kid growing up as a surfer and a musician, I don't think I really did it for... we didn't have social media back then, thank God. But, it was just part of the culture. It was just the way, we grew up in California. It wasn't like we were... In fact, it was just like eating a bag of potato chips. It wasn't any different than that to us. And I'm not advocating excuses. I'm just saying I grew up with a different mentality. And then when the whole thing with medical marijuana came around, I didn't understand that until I did. And then, again, if I'm going to bring this product to a large audience, I got to know everything about it. So, I read everything I can get my hands on. And I read stuff that's, really easy to get through. And then I read some stuff that's just I read 3 pages. And it's I tell people it's like reading an old organic chemistry book or Morrison Boyd or something.
Yeah, I read 5 times,
Yeah. But so,
take it in.
Where would anybody that's interested find out more, or could they contact you if they were interested in becoming a distributor?
Well, my number is actually on the product there, so that folks can talk to me about, say, results, how to take it, as far as usage, as far as serving size. Some of the things that I tell people on a daily basis when doctors call into me that you've referred, and I'm speaking to a chiropractor, I tell them, let me give you the golden rule of all rules with CBD. And that is just increase the serving size until you achieve the desired result.
Exactly.
That's been the most wonderful advice to give people, because I have my phone ringing. Hey, we started here, and then all of a sudden it started working at 50 milligrams or at 100 milligrams. And that's the other thing too, is the body kind of retrains itself. The same way with chiropractic, if you just keep putting the adjustment and putting it into place, then it's got a memory to it, right? And so that memory's there as the ECS wants to put the body in balance or homeostasis, and is trying to swing things back in. Once it gets there, now we want to go ahead and start working that muscle, right? And that muscle starts getting that memory going in it, and all of a sudden, like with my sister, she was at 150 milligrams. That's what turned the key for her. My sister's at 100 milligrams, okay? And the only reason she doesn't go to 50 is because she's like, things are working great, man. Why do anything different? That's sort of her attitude. But I thought for just a moment, so people, you might have mentioned this on some of your other podcasts, the significance of the fact that your body makes cannabidiol. And that when scientists discovered, the ECS, they found these receptor sites shortly thereafter. And to identify all these receptor sites to receive cannabidiol, they said it couldn't be coming from just an outside source. There has to be an internal mechanism. And then, of course, the discovery in 92 of andamine, and in 1995 of 2-AG. I think I have that right. Sometimes I flip those around. But 92 and 95 were significant markers as they found where the body was making it. And also that it was protected from degrading during a woman's pregnancy, and that it would be held in the breast milk to give that first to the baby. And that the ECS was formed in the gestation phase. It was very core to everything, and it's kind of regulating and sending in this, here's this system that's got all these receptors to receive cannabidiol, and its internal mechanism is just isn't getting enough. And you and I both know today, with the stresses of jobs, electronics, the foods, and all the stuff we're dealing with, right? These sort of things, just a little bit gets us behind.
Right.
And all of a sudden, the first time I took CBD, I immediately kind of had a body awakening from it. I took about 50 milligrams of the blue. And from that, I looked at my wife and I said, Guy, I know this sounds but I feel a lot better. My general, and I immediately started sleeping better. So, I noticed things that I had been dealing with and coping with in my life for years. I didn't even realize it.
Right.
As I was sleeping more soundly as a result of it. So, I think people need to recognize the fact that it's an internal mechanism, just like, we don't make vitamin C in our body, but other things we make in our body, and those things that we make in our body, that's would represent the action between the ECS and its internal cannabidiol, andamine, and 2-AG. Okay, so what are we doing here? We're adding some to that. We're sending, I like to call it sending in the Navy SEAL team. That's just me. But you're kind of creating a little bit of a defensive action there in the body to say, hey, if anything's kind of coming up and coming in. And, of course, it's a perfect ratio of omega-3 oils, right? Hemp seed, what a perfect ratio of proteins. There's proteins in there. And then even in the shell of the seed is tremendous value in the fiber that you get from that. And so the protein ratios are all dead on. The omega-3 oils are dead on. The plant itself, frequency-wise, is completely balanced. That just blew me away as they were doing some studies. I saw studies on PTSD and how the body's frequency's off from the trauma, And so hemp has a natural ability to bring the body's frequency back in line.
Perfect.
This is good stuff.
What's interesting to me, too, is and this is what the chiropractors really need to understand, is the highest density of the CB receptors, the cannabinoid receptors, the CB1 especially, are in the central nervous system. And what most chiropractors don't know is that the ECS, endocannabinoid system, really modulates the central nervous system. So, again, this system wasn't even discovered till 1987. It was when they were studying THC and its effects. So, this is like a wide, freaking open frontier. It's like we're just starting to be. And I know we've got 2, maybe 3 receptors that we've discovered right now. I guarantee you the body's loaded with receptors, and the more that research is opened up to this amazing plant, phytonutrient superfood, as I say, the more we're going to discover its benefits in so many amazing conditions. And it's just more amazing to me that it's still considered a class 1 drug, and I understand why, because when it's a class 1 drug, they basically say that there's no medical benefits to it, which stymies any research that can be done in the United States. And that's why we're seeing a lot of the research being done in Europe and especially in Israel and places where they're not under the auspices of the federal government here. And as soon as more and more people wake up to the reality of what's going on, based many times on their own personal experience, because for us, it's like we see these testimonials of people coming to us that are stage 4 cancer, where the doctors have really literally thrown in the towel, and the people get on this stuff. And again, it's not like I tell people to do this to get rid of cancer, but as a last resort, people will do anything. And when I'm starting to think, maybe we should start utilizing this as a first resort versus a last resort. And I'm thinking to myself last night, it's like, how many of us still watch a friggin' old black and white TV? And this is like an analogy that I use, but we're still using antiquated chemotherapy, which comes from 1940, because we have a system of control that does not want people healthy, does not want people to do alternatives. They want to keep you on the pharmaceuticals, and that's what the whole system's about. And now we got a plant that we can grow in our friggin' backyard, and it's a friggin' weed, dude. If you can't grow it, then you got some problems, man. I mean, and I'm not advocating anybody do that, but I'm saying, to me, it gives you the...
So any smuck could grow, yeah.
Yeah, as long as you got sun and dirt and water, that's all you need. The sun, dirt, and water. And maybe you need to learn how to maybe top it, and so you stimulate...
I think it's interesting how the plant itself will balance the soil. How do you like that one?
Yeah, and also it could solve a lot of problems with our carbon debt and getting rid of some carbon dioxide. And we could also get off fossil fuels too. But again, we want to keep that whole medical cartel alive. We want to keep that whole petroleum fossil fuel cartel alive. And we don't want to open it up to something as easy as something that we could really not only regenerate the soil, the farmers, if they could grow this stuff in the United States, would go frigging mental with the amount of financial gain that we get. And again, it's never for me been about the money. It's just about that God gave us a plant that when it works in harmony with us, it's going to help potentiate a higher level of health for us just because of the stresses like you said. So to me, it's a no-brainer, and I'm going to continue to teach courses in the chiropractic profession because I'm excited about it. I've been excited about it since the first time I met it. And again, my whole viewpoint on it has changed lately as far as its medical benefits, and I hate that word medicine. But to me, it's health benefits. It's a superfood, and I will take it. I mean, I take it now every day. I probably need to cut back. I'm probably doing, I would say, 100 to 150 milligrams. I do a little bit of the yellow tube, the gold tube, and I do a big chunk of the green tube, which to me is almost like chewing tobacco. I put that stuff right on my tongue and that stuff, and I sleep like a friggin' baby, dude.
I have my own concoction myself. I actually take the X, right? And then I mix that with the gold.
Wow.
It is my combo.
Why do you do the X?
I like the MCT oil in the equation too, because that's suspended in MCT oil. That's a really pure, and it has CBDA in the X. Remember, that's not been decarboxylated. So the gold is decarboxylated, converting that over and having more of the CB1 receptor, and then you've got additional coming from the X, right, of the CBDA, and then we got some MCT oil in it. I just call it my concoction.
Okay,
I mean,
cool.
You know what I mean? You got your own little.
I have some at home too, and I mean, I was taking that for a while too. I just feel like I get the best bang for my buck with the green, which is also not decarboxylated, right? It's all CBDA and THCA, and it's very. And that's the other thing I want to get across to people. Like a lot of people are concerned, dude, am I going to get high? No, the amount of THC that's in the product is so minimal. I tell people it's less than the amount of alcohol that's in a non-alcoholic beer. But what people need to understand, and that's why, I mean, maybe I'm not on board with you with the X because there's no THC in it. And that's for people that like have drug testing or people that are concerned with the THC. That's the product they have to use. But we have to potentiate through the entourage effect, the synergistic effect of all the constituents in the plant, all really magnifies the effects of the CBD, which is THC is hugely important for us to get those benefits. So one of the things I even advocate with some people, and I don't know if this is right or wrong, but I'm saying if they've got a pretty severe condition, I have them do our products, but then I may have them vaporize a product that has high levels of THC, because if you need, because there's also benefits to the THC. I personally do not like the psychotropic effects of being high anymore. I mean, I went through those phases in high school and through college. I don't like that feeling anymore. It makes me probably think more than I should, and I get very self-critical, and I don't think I get paranoid anymore, but I just don't like the effects. I like the soothing anti-anxiety effects that I get from a very, very high CBD strain. But if I had cancer or something, I would probably think about maybe increasing the levels. And again, there's all different strains of cannabis out there. They all have varying levels of not only the different cannabinoids, but there are terpenes in there, which like all the people at doTERRA are all excited about essential oils. Well, they're all in your plant. They're all in this plant, man. They're the same effects. But there's also flavonoids. There's 480 different active ingredients in the plant, which all synergistically affect to really give it all its health benefits and health attributes that we see so commonly. Do you want to talk about any other testimonials that you've seen with people? I mean,
absolutely. I'd be happy to share some of that. But I wanted to make mention on one of the comments you made regarding THC. And so a lot of people don't understand that until THC is actually superheated, it does not become psychoactive. And so once it crosses a certain barrier of heat, it converts. The same way if we looked at a piece of broccoli that was raw, it's an entirely different thing under the microscope when it's cooked. So if you look at both of them, you'd swear this is not the same thing. But it is. When you cook it, in the case of like CBD and all that plant matter, it's all destroyed. So if a person goes into a dispensary or whatever and they go to buy the oil of the plant and it is active THC, that means all the other things that were in there have been raised to enough heat to destroy them.
Wow.
So that's a big deal. So the THC does become psychoactive at that point. Now,
so let me ask you this: so if you vaporize, say, some just call it buds, I don't know what else to call flowers, you're losing the terpene effects from it.
Absolutely.
I didn't know that. So that's why the green product that we sell has all the terpenes in it.
Everything's there. In fact, the decarboxylated has not destroyed the CBD and some of the other things because it doesn't raise over that temperature to create that. So it is impossible. I don't care if you ate just a big cup full of the gold. You couldn't get high from it.
No,
it's
I know
impossible.
that. Let me ask you this, though. Isn't the highest percentage of the terpenes in the flower portion of the cannabis plant? And specifically, what we're using a hemp-based product where they're getting a lot of the constituents from the stalk and probably the leaves and not so much the bud.
That's correct. That's because of the laws and regulations. We would love to use the other portions of the plant because they wouldn't be any more psychoactive than the other portions of the plant. So it's really for us to walk a line to say, hey, look, you can't mess with this. What if we can't help somebody in Missouri or in Florida or Florida's legal now. But my point is that we wouldn't even be able to get it to them without violating some law. We can't. We can do that in all 50 states. Now, the local governors in some states, they really kind of come down on this stuff. But I always feel, and as I dig into it, and our friend Adam, he's a R&D guy, and so he'll dig into it, and it's like, where's the motives here? The motives are coming from within that state. Somebody's getting something out of the deal, or they just don't understand it at all, and they're just super anti. Because the federal government, if the feds aren't going to come in and do anything regarding our products. Now, when a person grows a plant, even in a legal state, and then transports it across a state line, even to another legal state, they still violated laws under the federal law. But because we have this imported, this keeps us from that as well.
Cool. All right. Yeah. Well, do you want to say anything in closing? Because I know you wanted to keep this under 20 minutes. I think we're at 21 minutes right now. 21
minutes. That went fast. Okay, so what would I say in closing? You mentioned about a couple of testimonials.
Yeah, give us a good testimonial.
First, the golden rule is increase the serving until you achieve the desired effect. And then once you have that, the desired effect, then slowly start decreasing after 30 days of kind of staying at that point. I want to give that advice to everyone out there. Follow that as a general rule. And now the next thing I want to say is that using that right there, I have managed to help literally hundreds of people by simply saying, okay, what's going on? Okay, well, maybe we need to move you on to the gold here, because what I'm hearing here is this what's happening, or the blue is the right product because it's a mixture of both, right? Let's increase that. You know what? Let's go to 3 times a day with that, right? And all this, like I had a lady with headaches, really, really, really bad headaches. I mean, cry, throw up type headaches. Really, really bad shit, right? And so I had to cross 200 milligrams with this person in order for the headache to stop. That's what happened with her. But once she kind of kept doing that over about 30 days, I think she takes 50 milligrams a day now. No more headaches. Right. She had to cross the barrier to where it's kind of just, you got to knock things around a little bit. Sometimes you got to get in there with boots and knock things around, and that's what kind of happens when you give all that fuel, right?
So basically, it's through the anti-inflammatory effects of the CBD that we decreased the pain in her head.
I think so.
So if the situation is inflammation and it's not subluxation, I mean, I always start with chiropractic first, and then if I need to, I add CBD as an adjunct. But I mean, when you got somebody that's got stage 4 cancer, I'm going to of course adjust them and I'm going to do it, but I'm not treating their cancer with chiropractic. I'm just augmenting their body's own capacity to heal itself, and that's what we do with the CBD, because the CBD2 receptors, or CB2 receptor, those are predominantly in the immune system. So those are the ones you're going to want to really. Again, I think the science is so. What's that?
I'm a firm believer that the body oftentimes is in some form of an inflamed state in one area or another. It's just the world we live in. We don't even realize it. General use of CBD would be, and I know it's like, hey, everybody should be on the product. Yes, I truly believe, absolute conviction, that every person should be taking 25 to 50 milligrams of CBD a day. If you're in this world, I am telling you right now. Now, a lot of people would say, you mean I don't have to have something wrong with me? I could tell you about my stepdaughter that, with the ADHD and going to school and getting a call back from a teacher saying, are you doing something different? Because she was great in class today. And, she's all over the place, right? But the point is I don't know what that is in each person.
Right.
But it's a guard. It's a guard to me. It's having the raw material for the body to do more of what it can do.
All right. So if they want to contact us, they can go to innatehemp.com. I don't even know my own website.
I tell you can't do here. Let me read it for everybody. innatecbd.com.
Okay. I didn't know that. Now I know.
And you there, and what you do to go through the process is if you're a chiropractor, click on the wholesale button, and then submit your documents in. It's just some basic forms. There's no sort of rules or regulations regarding it that are too heavy for anybody who wouldn't be able to do it. And you place your order, and then I think right now we're having Claudia actually from the office call to that person once the order comes through. Take whatever the payment information, and then we'll ship it out to them.
Okay. And if anybody has any questions, you can put them in the comments below, and we will answer those. I'm going to have Peter do that because I'm kind of busy with CalJam coming. And you're going to be at CalJam this year?
Of course.
Okay, good.
I will be there.
To say hi to everybody. We'll probably have some little samples for everybody.
Do I get another kiss? Because I got a kiss last time, and I've been kind of holding on to that.
Well, that was because you were new. You might have to pay for the kiss this time.
I see. All right.
No, I'll give you a kiss.
Okay.
Okay. All right, signing off with Peter Riggio from Innate Hemp or innatecbd.com. Check out our website. If you got questions, you can call me too or leave me messages here on Facebook. I'm more than happy to answer any questions. And we're having a lot of people that are having great success with it in the chiropractic profession. And whether you love me or hate me, I don't really care. We're here to change the world. And if hemp's one of those things that helps us do that, then we're going to do it.
Yeah, we're going to get healthy. Let's get healthy together, right?
Call me a mixer all the way to the bank, baby. All right. Love you, brother. All right, so that's the end of this. Signing off.
This is the greatest chiropractic event on the planet.
First impressions are everything, and when you walk in, you see the crowd, you see the stage set up, you hear the band.
The camaraderie was incredible, impressive, and I really felt like I was connected with my community.
Incredible. I've been to 9 out of 10 cow jams. The energy was through the roof, the most electric cow jam I've ever been to.